Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar Generations video. So this video will be the second part of my gameplay, my playthrough of the Rise of Kyoshi Story content in the new update. Link below for the first part of that gameplay if you want to see the start of the story content. But I'll also at the start here be going over the new trailer that they're dropping today for this expansion, just to see if there's anything new in it. I'll talk a little bit about the press release, as well as some of the art assets that I was given that I'm now allowed to share with you as of today. So, first of all, we'll start with the trailer. It's pretty short, but let's see what they focus on.
Avatar Generations welcomes its first new avatar to the game. Introducing Avatar Kyoshi, available now in the Rise of Kyoshi update. For the first time ever, you'll be able to see some of your favorite characters from the beloved novels brought to life. Through the new Avatar Timelines feature, experience a brand new campaign based on Avatar Kyoshi's life as depicted in the cherished novels. Many new playable heroes will be added from the Rise of Kyoshi. Collect both Avatar Kyoshi as well as a younger version of her as she finds her path to becoming the Avatar. Form dream teams with all new characters and face opponents from any generation. We are incredibly thrilled to have brought the Rise of Kyoshi to life in Avatar Generations as the first new avatar in our Avatar Timelines feature. Get the Rise of Kyoshi now by downloading Avatar Generations on the App Store or Google Play Store.
Okay, so straight to the point, just a minute, and focusing on exactly what they need to here. The hype around this update is a new generation, a new era of Avatar being added, it being an adaptation within the game of the novels, and then pointing that out, as well as pointing out that, like, we've seen Kyoshi in ATLA as well. That's really good as well, because the initial reception from the first couple of days of the expansion are that, like, I think people are like 10 times more intrigued by the game because it has this generations feature versus before this, when the game was just the ATLA content. And I think that's going to be one of those things that they have to balance, is that, like, this was so interesting. Say, like, their next update, when they're getting around to doing like episode 6, 7 of Avatar, 8 of Avatars is quite an interesting episode, but can they match that compared to, like, this really cool novel, which is one of the more kind of modern and also one of the best pieces of Avatar content? So they have said, I think their plan is to kind of go back and forth, where more than likely the next update, I'm guessing, will be continuing the Aang story, but then I think we'll go back and do more Kyoshi, and then they're kind of teasing that I think more towards the end of the year we'll see another generation be added into the game. My theory at the moment would probably be, I'd be surprised if it probably wasn't Korra, because I think you probably need to do that sooner rather than later to start the Korra story. But interesting stuff for sure here. So solid trailer there. Final thing just on the trailer though, you'll notice they're focusing in terms of visuals and stuff like that on primarily Kyoshi, Rangi, Yoon, and Tagaka. So you'll notice in the gameplay and stuff like that, there's no Janju, no Kelsong, or no Heiron, even though they're being talked about, you know, they're part of the story and stuff like that. We haven't, I don't think, seen their, like, characters within the game just yet, even though I think we know they're kind of coming. So that'll be interesting. But of course, we know this is a kind of basically a month-long Kyoshi event featuring multiple banners over the weeks. So we'll get into that. So just before I get into the art assets, let's talk a little bit about the press release. Really, there's not too much to say because a lot of the marketing has already covered this stuff. The only main thing I'll say about this is they do mention specifically this new campaign follows the early events of the Rise of Kyoshi, with players exploring the Yokoya Peninsula. So they're emphasizing here more specifically that, yeah, this is just part of the Rise of Kyoshi story. And it's interesting that, I'm guessing, you know, when they do another update, it will just be continuing. We'll still go into timelines. We'll still go into the Rise of Kyoshi for the next part of the story. So interesting stuff. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same, and they're again highlighting that this event is coinciding with Earth Day because they've been doing the Earth Month sweepstakes on social media and stuff like that. So, yeah, that brings us into talking about the art assets, of course. So here's pretty much all of the art assets that I was sort of given and I'm now able to kind of properly show off. Again, if you've played the content, you'll probably have seen a lot of this stuff in game. This is perhaps just like a very clean version of it, the assets directly taken out. So here's the official art of Heiran, which we've had for quite a while now, of course. That was the big teaser that this event is coming. We've got Jeonju, of course, very nice. Here is the kind of really cool kind of key art for Kelsong, of course, where it was the first time I saw him. So I've seen this for like, 2 weeks, give or take. Really, really exciting to get his design that like I think perfectly matches kind of the expectations I had for him, where he's obviously described as being a huge man, and then they say he had a big beard. But the question was going to be, is it going to be more of a Tenzin-esque beard, or are they going to go really kind of crazy with it? And they kind of went for it. So powerhouse earthbender here. I'm really excited to see what this character actually does in terms of the skills in game. Here is a young servant Kyoshi, of course, who you're given to play through the Rise of Kyoshi content, of course. Here is Tagaka's key art, which again we've seen before. Here's Yoon's key art. So very, very nice. This image specifically is actually quite similar to the Kyoshi cover artist, some of the art that she did for Yoon. Like the pose here is kind of very, very similar. It's just done in the kind of more show art style, which is kind of nice. Here is full-on Avatar Kyoshi. Of course, this is from the key art as well, as we know. Here's Kyoshi with the kind of half-heart earth effect, of course. Here is Rangi doing a fire kick. Very nice. Here's Rangi, again from the key art this time out. Rangi with the fire doing the key art. Again, creating the other heart kind of shaped effect. And then I have some of these banners. So this is the event challenge banner for Kyoshi, and obviously this is quite heavily in the game covered by a lot of what the challenges actually are, so it's super cool to actually see this piece of art just on its own, where it's obviously Avatar Kyoshi in the middle. On the left you have like kind of child Kyoshi, and then on the right you have kind of like teenage Kyoshi in a little bit of a different art style, which is quite nice. So it looks very kind of stylish here. Here's some of the kind of key scene art that really makes the story kind of work quite well in the content. So here's the kind of reinforcements arriving as Rangi, Heiran, and Jeonju arrive onto the battle at the iceberg, of course, to face Tagaka here. So this is right towards the end of the content that we have in the game so far. There's a bunch of other ones. I don't have them as such. Maybe different content creators were given different pieces, but this is what I have. And then this one, which you probably see in the thumbnail, is from the boss battle. So this is like Pirate Domain 6. This is the piece of art there, because you'll note you'll see all the stuff on the space here for the game text and so on. And then we have our other named character here. Talaric Tug. He's here as well, so it'll be interesting if we get him as well. And then I have some location art. Again, I think some of this has been seen before, but here is the Avatar Mansion, of course. Here's a nice piece of like concept art, as you can see here, giving you a look at the kind of overall kind of mansion. I think you directly see this on the adventure map as well. And I think it's pretty accurate. Like, yes, there's a line of there's a line in the book that mentions that the Avatar Mansion, like, there's imported paints and dyes that mean it's all the colors of the different nations. The book never specifically specifies, though, where those colors are specifically seen. So I completely get them trying to have it like look just like a little bit more Earth Kingdom-y, while having references to other nations with like the fire the dragons and so on. Of course, it's Yokoya, so there's always a little bit of blue around, of course, because we're quite close to the Southern Water Tribe as well. I think they did a good job here overall at capturing the feel of this, because the book describes that like the compound, the estate is like basically square in nature. There's a big dividing wall between sort of like the training grounds and then the rest of the facility. There's the gatehouses, of course, as you go through. Otherwise they matched it like pretty spot on. Here's a slightly kind of altered view of the Avatar Mansion as well, and then here's the background for Yokoya also. And then I won't go into this too much, but some of the other stuff that I did kind of more recently get access to is just like, say, the chibi kind of almost like animation walk cycle kind of type thing. It's just interesting to kind of like see some of this stuff. So here's that. Here is the boulder as well. I have other ones, but like I won't go through them specifically, because of course if you use the characters on the adventure paths, you get to see these anyway. So yeah, this time out I didn't get like the kind of comic kind of panel style stuff of like all the different characters with their facial expressions. But this is just a quick look at what's going on here. But yeah, with that out of the way, I'll cut over to the gameplay in the video. Okay, so now for some gameplay. So I've done only a little bit since the end of my previous video. I did finish off the sort of like extra stuff after the main story on Yokoya, but I haven't started Polar Refuge yet. So basically what happens here in the sort of like after story bit, it's relatively simple, but it's like nice for the Yokoya trio, like I kind of mentioned towards the end of that video. It's just kind of getting ingredients from 3 different nodes down here. So one of them is up here, one of them is down here, and there's the kind of combat one here. Nothing too much to say beyond just it's nice to see Rangi, Kyoshi, and Yoon all interact together and get a sense for what their dynamic was in more scenes before, of course, in the book we get straight into the action and we don't get many of those scenes. I do want to just mention one thing here with this kind of battle here. I'm not going to actually do it now, but I just want to show you this because this is somewhat interesting. There is a new named Kyoshi era character here. So 5th Nation character here. Taluric Tug. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. Some of these really long, newer Water Tribe names could be kind of tricky to pronounce. But this guy, he's in the level 6 Pirate Domain battle as well. So the idea is he's meant to sort of be like Tagaka's lieutenant kind of type thing. You can see he is a waterbender as well. So pretty interesting stuff. I'm wondering, might he be the powerful opponent banner character, which is the banner coming next week? Because we know that from the patch notes. The next banner coming is a powerful opponent banner. But we don't know for sure that it's going to be Kyoshi themed. We assume it will be, but it's not listed as like timeline powerful opponent. But typically they've been brand new characters, game originals. And he's so far in the Kyoshi update the only character who would really fit that. Otherwise it will be, I guess, Masaru, formerly known as Katsu, the firebender captain guy. But I just thought that was something to worth mentioning. So from here, yeah, what we're going to do is just kind of progress here. So you can see I've already got my Kyoshi up to level 60, Rangi up to 40, and I've got a few Pong Pongs, of course, also. What's this? So Gyatso has completed this. So this is just to get some skip tickets and stuff like that. So I'll just have him go again. And yeah, we're going to go straight away to that. So I guess what I need to do is disband this team, probably. It's probably the safest thing to do. Because I assume I'll have to assign a new team for there. But But yeah, it seems like, these will be adventure paths that will reset when the daily update happens, and it looks like there'll be a little bit to do here. The one thing I will say though, this node down here is a 12-hour timed node, so that's getting pretty long. I wonder will future updates have longer ones than that. So yeah, we're going to start this. So this will get us straight back into the main story down here. So let's see what happens here. So first of all, let's take a look around. So, okay, some huts. Go up the mountain. Of course, lots of icebergs around here. Of course. So yeah, let's see what happens here in the story. So we'll just assign and whatever. So yeah, we just Kyoshi one character, and it has to be a Kyoshi era character. That is fine. So Kyoshi characters are on the bottom, aren't they? Kyoshi. I can choose a support, so I might as well. And I'm going with Pung Pung, who is down here. Save. And let's see what happens here. Story. Yeah, it's just a story interaction to start off with. Okay, so this is on the way there. Kelsang. There we go. And so yeah, this is some of the important lore, of course. It won't be until the second book, Shadow of Kyoshi, which I assume will be probably 4 or 5 updates from now when we finally get to this stuff. But again, with Karuk specifically, I wonder, will they take that flashback out of Shadow of Kyoshi and sort of make it its own separate event? Which I suppose would roughly make sense to do that. So yeah, we get, of course, the idea. Heiran, Janzu, and Kelsang were his team avatar.
Don't criticize Yoon's past life. The avatars tread paths of great destiny. Every action they take is meaningful.
Yeah, because this is one of the things you almost forget about Rangi in like the very first book, especially. Like, she super respects the Avatar. Like, she's like, you don't say bad things about the Avatar. She even gets really picky later on about the order in which the elements are done and stuff like that. Okay, so that was pretty good. And yeah, the rewards for just going through the story, which is pretty basic, are pretty decent as well. Oh, so here is a mock, or Sifu a mock, whatever you call it. In disguise, of course. Spider snake extract, which is one of the relics you can get in the game, which is kind of nice. Changes eye color. So yeah, we're gonna meet Tagaka here, and I suppose we'll see will they have that lieutenant guy kind of involved in the story here a little bit more, or is he very much like an addition on top of that stuff? So yeah, we just go up here. Tagaka's rest, and yeah, story stuff. So that takes a few seconds. Okay.
I didn't realize we were supposed to be bringing so much muscle.
Okay.
That girl is a walking crow's nest. Where are my manners? It's my honor to greet the Avatar in the flesh.
Yeah, this is all straight from the book. Lots of this stuff. Very world-building kind of dialogue here.
This one studies like Yongchen and flatters like Kuruk. I look forward to our battle of wits tomorrow.
Okay.
Tell me, Avatar, are you enjoying yourself? I'm so glad. I was convinced you were planning to kill me before the night was
Okay, so
through.
here's some of the big reveals, isn't it? Coming up here. The reveal of the kind of darker side of Karuk's Team Avatar's past.
I'm not concerned about a bunch of flunkies with spears, boy. I'm talking about those three.
Yep, there we go.
And I know what it means when the gravedigger of Zulu Pass darkens my tent in person.
Indeed.
I'm referring to 5,000 Yellownecks, buried alive, the rest terrorized into submission.
Okay.
I'm curious. Do their spirits haunt you when you sleep?
And yes, some of this is like pretty brutal because like obviously like she's not lying when she says that this is what he did. So kind of like this brutal kind of like earthbending purely to kind of take people out here.
Respectfully, I gained my position through knowing facts beyond what you think a typical blue-eyed southern rustic should know. For example, I know who holds the Royal Academy record for the most accidental kills during Agni Kai, Madam Headmistress. And Master Kelsong.
Here we go.
Listen, young Avatar. Have you ever wondered why my fleets stay cooped up in the Eastern Sea? It's solely because of that man right there. My father used to call him the living typhoon. I should thank you, Master Kelsong. I lost several uncles on that expedition. You saved me from a gruesome succession battle. The most effective threat is only performed once. You absolutely do. You know, it's bad luck to undertake an important ceremony with blood on your spirit. I purified myself of my past crimes with sweat and ice before you arrived. But with the stain of so much death still hanging over your side, I suddenly feel the need to do it again before tomorrow morning. You may stay here as long as you'd like.
And yep, here we go. The truth revealed. And again, keep in mind this is kind of father-daughter relationship. You know, you can see it's at this point that maybe like the lack of like some of the detail, or maybe they can't tell the story, or like take a super long time to tell the story, means that maybe some of the context is a little lost here. So I would say definitely read the novel yourself, because there is more than is just being presented here. This is like the core beats of the story, but there's really good detail in the actual text of the book. Okay, so we move on here. I see Overlook. Okay, so yeah, so here's this little moment where Kyoshi's kind of on her own here. And this is kind of like the main like other guy they sort of like describe in the book as part of like Tagaka's group, the kind of Earth Kingdom guy with the mustache. And you get an interesting scene here. Didn't I see you at the Flying Opera Company? Got any like ink on your body tattoos that you want to show me? So what's going on here? He seems to recognize her. So we do a battle here. But obviously, like, in the book, this was just like a sort of like a passing moment where, like, you know, Kyoshi just, like, you know, kind of deals with him straight away. It's not like a full-on fight, but of course for the game, they use this as an opportunity to have an actual battle. So yeah, I'm way over leveled for this. But oh no, sorry, we go in and then what? It gives us our team. Oh no, this is exactly how it's going to go. And the kind of question is, like, you know, why is Kyoshi so, like, aggressive about, like, oh, you don't recognize anyone like me? So she knows what he's talking about, basically.
No, I'm not part spirit. I'm just tall.
So yeah, one hit KO. Fitting for the scene, though, of course.
I did it!
Okay. And then, based on the book, we would then go... There's technically, I suppose, a brief scene with Rangi, isn't there? And then we go into basically the next day of the negotiations and everything kicking off, of course. Big action set piece at the kind of first third point in the book. Okay, 2 timeline stones. Okay, he was wrong. Okay, so we go back here. Story. Okay, so once again, still only Kyoshi. Oh yeah, here's the Rangi scene. So there's the Zuping On reference, Yellownecks again. They haven't really mentioned, like, the term, like, Dao Fei. This is obviously like a big world building term that gets explained at this moment. It basically just refers to, like, bandits and pirates. But sort of a slightly more honorable sort of, like, type of bandit pirate. There's a slight sense of kind of nobility to them, is sort of the idea. But the Yellownecks in this case is not really that. This is more of a much more brutal group. Hence why the whole Gravedigger of Zulu Pass incident sort of actually happened. And then, yeah, here's the reveal that, hey, wrong, kind of had to kill one of her cousins. Well, there was an assassin, is the kind of rumor. And again, part of this also is that, like, there was the tease of Kyoshi's past just there. Rangi sort of revealed a little bit of hers, but Kyoshi has not taken the opportunity to kind of return the favor there a little bit. Okay. That's fine. So this is the next day. Okay. So let's go up here. The Glacial Mesa. Travel. Okay, here. So this is an important moment, of course. Tries to do waterbending. She's not good. Amok, who is a master waterbender, is kind of like, oh, what's going on here? She's saying she's not as good as the waterbender as like her lineage would perhaps maybe suggest. Okay, so here's the treaty sort of signing here. And yeah, one of the captives is kind of involved in this as well. See Tagaka's sword there as well. Here's I don't think they fully gave the context here, but the idea here is that like this is Yoon sort of like going off script a little bit. Jeonju was kind of more warning him that like you can maybe make a slight attempt at a verbal kind of agreement, like request some of the prisoners back, but like part of like this negotiation, she's never going to agree to everything, and the idea is that has this like ruined the negotiation, but as we see, she's just like, sure, she has a bigger plan. They're useless to her, and all she wants is carpenters. She just wants to increase the size of her forces, and she knows where she can get that stuff. And Yoon realizes immediately Yokoya is like perfect, and all of the key people who would technically protect Yokoya, the people in the mansion, the powerful benders, are all here, surrounded by ice of a primarily water tribe kind of pirate fleet. So, boom. Massive moment in the book where you... it's one of the first times where you really see the sense that, like, okay, the book's tone is on the darker side of things. Like, it's straight away at sort of like the level certain Korra moments are at. That, like, Sifu Amok is just, like, killed, like, instantly by Tagaka, revealing she's actually, like, a super powerful master waterbender here. So, stabbed straight through the chest with an ice shard. Very brutal. More to come. She saw through the disguise. The others are kind of pulled away, not in their natural element. Kyoshi nearly gets pulled away. And it leaves Yoon to engage Tagaka in combat. And again, he doesn't have access to much earth. Or, you know, the earth that is around is like under the sea, basically. So some really cool moments to depict the kind of big moments. And we get to do this battle. So yeah, we're just going to be giving Yoon here, I guess. Oh no, what we play as Tagaka here. That's interesting. And it's level 70 versus level 30. So they of course want you to just win this one. So what is Tagaka's whole thing going on here? So her passive shared spoils is grant skill nullified to allies when an enemy is inflicted with a rank 3 water element. Okay, that's pretty good. Avoids the next hit of damage if you inflict a rank 3. So you have to get up pretty high though. What does she have here? Splash damage, which is inflict water element on a random enemy if the target caster attacks is inflicted with the water element. Okay, so it spreads it around. Gain a defensive buff for other pirates on your team. Fierce damage, okay. Chance to increase the rank of a water element by 1 each hit, and it deals 3 hits. So, okay, there's a chance to get it quite high. Okay, so you can see the kind of combo that Tagaka is trying to do there. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, so I think so far the characters that the only ones I haven't really like interacted with yet are Heiran, Jeonju, and Kelsang. I don't know what their skills are.
Can't I appear human for a moment? Or do the spirits forbid it?
Okay, so we start with the basic this time, Okay, that's... Okay, so insta-kill, of course. Very cool animation there on that attack. The idea isn't that Tagaka just, like, destroys Yoon in this fight. The idea is with minimal earth, he actually holds his own, because Yoon is, like, an incredible earthbender. But he's in the wrong environment here, of course. So the idea is, like, you know, she technically, I suppose, like, you know, quote unquote wins the fight, but like, of course, Yoon survives this, of course, which is what sets up, obviously, like, Kyoshi, who ends up being sort of one of the few people still kind of standing, kind of up and running in all of this. Okay, so this is the idea of, like, Tagaka uses waterbending. They reveal themselves. They've all been hidden in ice, in these icebergs. This is her fleet. And so here Kelsang joins the battle. And yeah, she targets specific ice needles to get his glider, so he can't do much. So this is Kyoshi trying to save Yoon. Okay, so we're going down here. So yeah, here we go, Avatar State. And we get the Avatar State music. So interesting, you see the line of avatars going back. So of course, we're on Kyoshi here. So Karuk before her, Yangchen before her, Avatar Zito is the one before her. The Earth Avatar directly before Kyoshi is sort of unknown. A lot of people speculate this is the Avatar Salai that's actually mentioned in the text of Rise of Kyoshi, but we don't know that for sure. But it's interesting he is kind of pictured there. So very cool moment here as Kyoshi uses the Avatar State. Now, how do they show what exactly happens here? Because the idea here is that Kyoshi does this massive earthbending move, and it sort of brings Earth up above the water, which brings Jeonju into play, and you get to see him and how crazy he is. So yeah, here we go, yeah. Giant pillars of Earth come out of the water, and again, we're out here in all this ice, so like this is coming up from a huge distance. It is a pretty big feat of Avatar State bending. And then, yeah, here's the cavalry charge, of course. Jeonju, Heiran, and Rangi arriving on Pang Pang. This isn't really kind of what happens. In the book, it's sort of like the idea that, like, it's sort of, this almost happens like off screen in a way. They land. You get to see Jonju basically be the one to take out, like, basically the fleet with some crazy earthbending. And the idea is more that it's Heiran and Rangi together that kind of really are the ones who kind of bring Tagaka in. And they don't really imply that, like, Kyoshi is, like, particularly involved in it. Because, again, she's not a fighter necessarily at this point. Obviously, for the sake of the game, she has to be a little bit more capable than you would perhaps think. But again, it's a subtle difference that you understand what's going on here. Okay, so we do the battle. Yes. Okay. So that seems pretty fine. So yeah, we are going up against Tagaka. Is this guy named? No, just Fifth Nation Firebender Pirate guy. And we do have Talaric Tug here as well, who so far, they haven't attempted to incorporate him into the story, but, another named character in the fight is somewhat interesting to note. And we will do this battle. Cool. That's one of the screensaver kind of shots here. Loading screen.
Stop!
Right! No, I'm not part spirit, I'm just tall.
Okay, so he took out Tagaka like immediately. But again, my Kyoshi's way over leveled for this.
Oh, yeah? Wrong! Not a chance.
It's pathetic!
Okay, so there he is doing the... I'd almost call that that's like Tonrock's move from Korra. Of course, Korra's father kind of does that a lot. He puts full ice over his hand and goes in for the kind of Wolverine kind of hit. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll just do a little bit. We'll do a combo here. He's down too.
You'll pay for that!
No, I'm not part spirit, I'm just tall. We can do this!
Back off, or else.
Have some dignity!
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of more like it, where you see the dialogue in the fight was very much like getting across the idea that Kyoshi wasn't particularly involved there.
There won't be a next time,
But-
understand?
I'm assuming Heiran and Jonju are here somewhere, so it's interesting that they don't let you kind of use them, at least yet. Now, I understand they're probably coming in the summon banners that are coming, a week or two into the event. I think it's the third week and the fourth week, but it's interesting. Because for the most part, I'm assuming that they end it roughly in or around this. They don't go much further than maybe the kind of little epilogue scene immediately after this. And we'll build up to the kind of the moment that really starts Kyoshi's quest or journey as the Avatar in just a minute. So yeah, this seems like a pretty rewarding thing. 300 stones, 5 of the timeline stones. So Heiran. Okay, so here's Jonju's moment to shine. How will they show this? if you read the description of this in the book, it's maybe hard to fully like connect what is written in the book, but he does this really cool thing where obviously Kyoshi brings the Earth to the surface. He jumps into action, and basically my understanding of what he does is he takes off these really kind of thin, almost like sheets of Earth, and basically creates this like ongoing bridge that like goes over the top of some of the ships, and then he basically like goes over the ships, lets the bridge he's just made fall on top of them, and you know that's how he takes them out. There's sort of the implication of some of that, like he's made a foothold for himself, kind of. But you know, it's interesting enough. So cool moment of Jonju in action. Three days later. So here's him, who of course, he was the one who made the decision that, oh, Yoon, it has to be Yoon. He is for sure the Avatar. Now he's suddenly like, oh, it's actually you. So this is the big moment for the kind of turn in a way of this character. So yeah, here's kind of the thing with Kyoshi as well, that she is not good at small scale earthbending, that she can only do like power earthbending. She doesn't have a lot of control. Okay, so yeah, this is a super interesting conversation. I wonder how much of this they put in. Yeah, so about the Earth Kingdom. The Earth Kingdom has more than one king. Northern and southern dialects are so different, they're starting to become separate languages. Villages in Yokoya wear as much blue as green. The people of the Siwang Desert barely share any customs with the rest of the continent. Do you know what's holding the Earth Kingdom together right now? Me. So this is the idea that he is a super important player. He's an Earth Sage in the Earth Kingdom. He has no claim on leadership for no blood. I have to do it solely by creating ties of personal loyalty. There's the Dao Fei reference, of course. He's just a stopgap measure, a substitute. This is the thing with like all of the kind of Karuk companions, because he died so young, and like all of his team kind of outlived him. They had to fill in the gaps as sort of the authority of the Avatar while the Avatar wasn't there, and this is why the kind of Kyoshi era has sort of like spawned this like focus on Dao Fei, bandit groups, pirate groups, is because they've been allowed to rise up with no Avatar, and effectively because of what Karuk is kind of said to have done as the Avatar, which is not a lot. There was also time during Karuk's reign where, you know, this stuff wasn't being dealt with, plus the time from like the death of Karuk to what we have like 17-year-old Kyoshi here. And is that it? So yeah, that's objectives are done. So that's where they're going to leave it for now, which makes sense. I think that's a pretty solid point to end it. That means the second stage of the update, I guess, can be the journey to test for sure which one is the Avatar. That means introducing Father Glowworm, which I'm convinced they have to have official art for Glowworm. There's no way they can avoid that scene. Then you have your big moment with the confrontation between Jonju and Kelsang, leading to, of course, the emotional moment, the inheritance, and I'm assuming you'll maybe, I don't know, do you end there? That seems like you're not covering enough ground. you probably at least introduce the Flying Opera Company members and maybe wrap it up there. And then 1 or 2 more updates after that, depending on how far you think you can go. But yeah, we'll go back to the Polar Refuge because, again, there's probably going to be some sort of after story style stuff, which will be interesting to see what exactly it is. So there's obviously going to be some sort of action, the remnants of her fleet, I'm guessing. But what is the sort of full context behind this, I do wonder. Okay, so it's just Kyoshi era characters, so I can put Rangi in as well this time out. Okay, what's this? Okay. Elite Guard. Interesting look, actually. It's pretty cool, actually. Rescuing survivors. Yeah, pirates still roaming about. Okay. Get a look over here. So this is mainly just to open up these paths. We do this part of the story that will make the paths then repeatable, and we have basically 2 more areas to get currencies and stuff like that from. The young survivor. Okay, so we have to get some sort of a resource here, which is what? Salvage blankets. Okay, so we'll find this somewhere else. This is just a story note, so we'll go up here. Okay. Okay, so there's a battle node here. So we might as well just do this while we're here. So 75,000 power. Level 15, so shouldn't be any sort of a problem. For anyone wondering, based on what they said in the developer video that they put up the other day, the plan seems to be to kind of alternate between the updates being Aang era focused and then timeline focused. So I'm guessing the next big update will have the next stage of the ATLA story, and then the update after that will be the continuation of the Kyoshi stuff. But they also said there's another timeline, another era, I think, coming at some point. So maybe that will be Korra, perhaps, but we'll see.
Have some dignity.
No, I'm not part spirit, I'm just tall. I did it!
Okay. And this gets us our blanket. So if we go back down here, this is just a resource node. Okay, another battle. So far, nothing too kind of crazy here. Just like sort of logically, you'd expect there to be some sort of a like aftermath to what happened at the iceberg.
Enough! Face me! Stop! Don't get up! I'll just put you back down again.
Okay, so that probably should be that section of the path kind of complete. I wonder will this build up to like the sort of like boss of the sort of after story being Talaric Tug kind of coming back. Okay, so then we go. So that node is just to repeat to do this stuff with the blankets, is it? Yeah, but probably once we get it, it switches that to being a resource node or something like that. So we'll go back up here. We gotta travel this path. Okay, so we need to do the blanket thing again. But okay, we'll see. We'll see. We'll probably get it again.
Have some dignity.
Back off, or else.
Stop! Don't get up! I'll just put you back down again.
Okay, no, okay, yeah. Then we get to do this again. To get the blankets. Okay, another battle. All pretty similar here. I definitely felt like so far I think the after story for the for Yokoya is better because like there's more of the kind of character dialogue, whereas this almost feels like it's perhaps not maybe meant to be like Kyoshi and Rangi going back to do the cleanup here, and that it is meant to just be like the guards. And I think you can tell by the fact that like the restrictions here are just like Avatar Kyoshi characters. It doesn't specify that you need the actual characters, so that probably tells you like this isn't meant to be like taken as these characters specifically do this stuff, but behind the scenes I guess this is what happened.
Have some dignity.
Stop! I did it!
So, is there anything more? Okay. So, is that just it then? Let's see, if we travel back here, does anything activate? Yeah, for the most part, yeah, that looks like it, because they're all the green nodes are just here, and you can't really interact with them. So, I think that's just about everything. So this will just be what, like, yeah, 20 gold or something like that for traveling a path. Oh, there is story. Okay. Hua? Okay, so they get names. Young. What? Oh, okay. I was just like, wait. This isn't Naruto. Why did she poof like that? Okay, so yeah, I kind of called this one actually. There we go. Talaric Tug. Okay, so they're both from the same tribe, so yeah, he won't abandon his kin. Okay, so here we go. There's actually a little bit of plot going on here then. And I think this maybe makes him a little bit more of a candidate now for being the powerful opponent banner the next week. Okay, so yeah, decent rewards here. But I don't expect it to be super challenging. Yeah, it's only level 20. But usually the way these work is that the levels kind of go way up when they're repeatable. So they're a little bit more challenging. But again, you have the arena for harder fights.
Stop! Over here!
Okay, wave 2. If Tagaka were here.
Enough! No, I'm not part spirit, I'm just tall.
Okay, there's the fearful state.
You're on the wrong side of this fight.
Which further boosts
Stop.
Rangi's stats. So you can see here she's got 2 generic damage boosts plus her own fury state. So that's like what, plus 10, plus 10. So yeah, this is the Kyoshi Rangi combo here.
You're lucky the Avatar is merciful.
Okay, and that's just more, yeah, time ones. Okay, now how much more is there to the story? Okay, so there's a purple time scroll. 550, that seems like rewards for potentially the end. Okay, retreat. He doesn't want to retreat. Okay. Brutality, but oh, interesting. This the servants, the people we rescued. Okay, there's a little bit going on here. Okay, objectives complete. Traveling takes longer. Rewards are greater. Okay. So what happens here? They change this to a fight node. Oh, and there's something new. So for fast travel here, there's a fight. 100k power. It is a new fight, so we will do it. Okay, so it is a fight against Talaric Tug again. It's just slightly harder. And then there's something else up there on the, what was that, the Mesa, which is a resource node. And that should bring sort of the, for now, new story content here in the Kyoshi update to a close.
Stop! Face it! No, I'm not part spirit, I'm just tall. Stay down!
Oh, yeah? We're just fighting for what's ours. You're on the wrong side of this fight.
Have some dignity.
Back off, or else.
Okay.
Stop.
Stop!
Attack!
I'm not backing down!
We're just fighting for what's ours. You're on the wrong side of this fight.
I'm not backing down!
Stop.
Okay, here's the ultimate. Again, apologies about the graphical errors here. You can probably tell like, my phone is chugging
No, I'm not
along
part
running
spirit, I'm
this.
just tall.
I've seen footage from other people and it's fine. I think it's just my phone. As you can see there, that was quite a big pause.
Back off, or else.
I did it!
Okay, they're pretty good rewards actually. 555 of 3 different level 2 meditation beads. That's actually really good. And then what's this? Resource is, ooh, what's this? Oops. Fifth Nation Talisman for some timeline tokens. That's an interesting one because obviously you can trade in, what is it, 5 boss battle coins to get 3 of basically any talisman. So it's basically like paying 1 boss battle coin per timeline coin, which is I don't know how great that is. So we'll travel up here. This should be a timed one yet, 7.5 minutes. So that's something that we'll do there as we wait for it. So yeah, that's most everything in the update, of course. So yeah, overall, like I would definitely say I thought it was pretty good overall, like what they did there. So I definitely liked that. I thought the adaptation was very solid. Of course, there's more detail in the book. I'll always say that. But they hit the key points, I think, pretty well. Maybe there's a little bit of context missing that would help some of those emotions hit home a little bit harder, but nothing too much, I'd overall say. So there's that. So interesting stuff overall. But yeah. Definitely want more, of course, because it's a major update, obviously adding timelines in. But it's a relatively small piece of content in terms of how long it actually takes to go through it. In terms of like, I'm doing this like recording over like, 2 kind of recording sessions for the video. But that's mainly because, okay, it's only like what, just over an hour of gameplay in each separate video. But there's a bunch of extra time that goes into actually putting the video together. That's kind of why I split it apart. If I was just playing it, I'd be through it in like 2 hours. And I think they said that in the recent interview with Avatar Wiki that they put out, is that they're kind of struggle. It's not the struggle, I suppose, but that's what they have to deal with this game, is that they need to have regular content. But every piece of content needs to go through all these Avatar Studios approvals, which takes time. So what finished here? Oh yeah, Razor Reef, of course. They said there's an update here. I haven't got to it yet because of the way this works. What they said that you'd see the new stuff after you defeat Suki. Now I've defeated Suki before, but there's obviously a sequence to the way these work. So this will be the second time I've cleared this. So basically, once I clear this, then clear it again, then Suki, I think, will arrive with the Kyoshi Warriors. And if I defeat that battle, I think that's when I'll then get the extra Razor Reef node, or whatever they said it would be. The one in Omashu, which is the other place that they said there was a change. So that one, the way it works is you defeat Flopsy up here. It turns this into a resource node, which is quite a long one. I think it's like 8 hours. But then it also gives you this resource node here, which, like the one that we just talked about there, is a resource node that asks for 3 talismans. And then I think it turns into a fight, a pretty high level fight. And then when it reset to ask for a different type of talisman, but 3 of them again. The rewards didn't seem like incredible, so I would say that as well. So there's Gyatso. Once again, and again, we'll just start this once more. And then while we are waiting for that path to travel, I think I should be able to do Kyoshi's first mastery as well. So there's a couple of events that have popped here. Okay, so timeline tokens, complete adventures, and we got some Kyoshi tokens. So that brings us up to 3. So what's left in the shop? Jace's journal, summon tickets, and the more generic stuff. So I'll just grab my first Jace's journal, I guess, while I'm here. But yeah, like I said, we'll go into Kyoshi, who I'm pretty sure I should be able to do that for.
I still can't believe it's been 100 years. So much has changed. No, I'm not part spirit. I'm just...
Okay, so skill mastery. The battle to get the first one, gain 10% increased speed for each Team Kyoshi faction ally alive in battle. So we'll see what we do here. Sometimes these give you a look at some of the kind of characters that aren't maybe typical in the game. So I don't know. Is there a chance we get a look at like Janju or anyone like that? We'll see. Perhaps not at level 1. Okay, yeah, so it looks like it's just a generic battle.
I've been given the greatest gift in existence. I will not squander it. People say I have Kuruk's smile, which I guess.
Stop! I'll show you! I did it!
Okay. So that's good. We go up to skill level 2. And we get that bonus. Okay, so the next one, what do I need to do? 25 battles in any activity. So that's going to just happen over time. That's going to be fine. Need to do 10 more boss battles. That should be okay. Adventure paths, no problem. Only 2 more battles. So that should happen relatively quickly. The boss battles will be the only kind of slow thing there. And yeah, that's for the cooldown on her advanced skill, which is actually quite notable. There's that, and then the last one just boosts the 10% to the 15%, which is pretty good. And then, have I met the conditions for Rangi? Did I do enough battles? I think battles are like the main thing I need to do at Rangi, so we might be able to do the Rangi one as well.
Ugh, I hate that Gankanti Mui keeps giving me to put on my face.
Being the Avatar's bodyguard is...
So what am I off by? Oh yeah, I just need to do one more boss battle, which... I suppose I don't need to do that right now in the video. We'll see how far our progress is here. So yeah, is this done? Yes, it is. Okay. And how long is this timed node? 6 seconds. Okay. And now what? It'll be the full timed thing, won't it? So, yeah. 12-hour node. But it's for quite a few timeline tokens. Looks like level 3, 2, and 1 items. Food is possible. Skip tickets are possible. So yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of everything there. So certainly something to kind of consider using. I'm not going to use it. Wait. Let me just check this. Yeah, I do have to use Kyoshi characters. So that's the one thing with this, because currently there are only like technically 2 characters, because 2 of the characters are Kyoshis in the game. So if I do this, it kind of locks up like my characters for like 12 hours, which I don't want to do. But it's nice to know it's there, I suppose. So that is everything kind of complete there. So yeah, I'll just wrap it up. I don't think I'm going to do any more summons at the moment. The main reason for that, as we'll get into over here, I haven't done any since I did them in the video. is that, as we know, this summon banner is going to last the entire event. There's still 34 more days left. As the other summon banners come out, this one will still be there. So the next one's Powerful Opponent, meaning that we'll use the green tickets. So just by spending 10 tokens, you'll get the character unless they change it up. That is then going to be followed by a timeline standard banner, I guess. And I'm assuming that's where we will see the banner to get Yun, Jeonju, Heiran, and also Kelsang. Now, I don't know what way... Oh, and Tagaka, of course. I don't know what way they're going to split them up, because the question is sort of like, is Talaric Tug, is he a character that we're going to be able to get? Or is Tagaka perhaps going to be positioned as the powerful opponent? Because that's like, what, 5 characters left? 2 main banners, 1 kind of like individual character banner. But then there's also Peace Chaos at the end. Now, I don't know like what the deal is there, of course. Is that Kyoshi Peace Chaos, or is that just other Peace Chaos? I don't actually know. But my thought process is that I'm going to save my tickets at the very least to see what the next banner is, because I think the characters I really want to try and get, Kelsang probably number 1, just because there's not a lot of airbender characters in the game, and because he's such a like big powerful airbender, I think it would be cool. I don't think there's any way they're gonna like do him badly, so I'm just kind of keeping on hold of my tickets there, and that way, you know, do that, and then if that's just the way it works, I can save my tickets for the rest of the event, and if needs be, you know, last minute kind of put stuff into the kind of main banner to get more Rangis and try and get the Avatar Kyoshi. That's at least my thoughts on it at the moment. Especially because I have the 2 unique characters, like, because you can't use 2 Kyoshis on the field. That's the way I'm kind of thinking about it. So I have, 6,300 nature stones plus 9 summon tickets. So hopefully by the time the next banner comes out, I'll have in around like 100 or so. I am excited to see more of the other characters. But yeah, that's where I'm going to wrap up the video here. Obviously, not particularly sure when my next generation's video will be. Again, depends, like, as I suppose the summon banners happen. Like, if they seem pretty exciting, I'll do some sort of a maybe quick video just seeing if I get anything from my summons, showing off the character if I do happen to get them. But that's probably it. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Have you gone through the full story of Rise of Kyoshi that's in the game currently? What are your thoughts on it? Definitely let me know how you feel it's gone in the game so far. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.